Hey folks, so last live stream, more than a few people asked me if I had watched this yet, and I've also been asked on Twitter and all that. So I've now seen the short that was put out, written by Russell T Davies, called Farewell, Sarah Jane. Now, it is exactly what it sounds like. It was put out on the anniversary of Elisabeth Sladen's passing, and it is a remembrance and a celebration of the character of Sarah Jane Smith, who she played in Doctor Who and, of course, in her own show, The Sarah Jane Adventures. Now, the reason I hadn't gotten to this sooner was I tried watching it when it first came out, and something wasn't quite clicking for me. I think the mistake I made initially, and this isn't like necessarily going to be a mistake for anybody else, but it's a mistake for me, was I was just watching it and just watching a guy standing in front of a microphone and narrating the events of a memorial service. I couldn't get immersed in that. So I gave up after a few minutes and said, I'll try that another time. And then I didn't get back to it for a little bit. So what I did this time was, and let me be clear, it's good narration. There's nothing wrong with what he's doing. It's just me seeing him there takes me out of it. So I brought up the video, but I turned my chair away and kind of just zoned out, which is the sort of thing that I tend to have to do if I'm listening to like an audiobook. I need to be, sort of just vaguely, not particularly focused and on something other than that. But, I'm looking around. And so I'm listening and I was able to get into it. Of course, then I was very much caught off guard after a couple minutes when I heard a different voice. And I look back and there is the character of Jo. There's Katie Manning. And that I didn't know was in there. So what happens is it is just a description and a narrative of a memorial service for Sarah Jane and all these people there, saying how people are sad but also so happy to share their stories about what she did for their lives. And then for, I'm assuming, whoever Russell T Davies was able to wrangle, who was available, who had the time and the means to contribute, little video sections from the performers behind characters like Joe Grant, like Ace, and of course Clyde, Ronnie, and Luke, the three supporting characters, the young kids. Well, they weren't that young, and they're adults now. But the younger cast members of the Sarah Jane Adventures all get to make their contributions. Now, first of all, I'm not going to say there's necessarily spoilers, but if you're watching me talk about this, but you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. I'll put a link in the description. Go do that. So, all of the performances are very good and very, very heartfelt. You could tell that even though what they were talking about was the character of Sarah Jane, you could feel that these people were pouring their emotions and their feelings about Elisabeth Sladen, the person, into their performances. It comes across really, really well. And it was nice and it was sweet. And then Luke started talking and then I started crying. I held it together up until then. But yeah, no, that's what got me. So if on the off chance you didn't watch Sarah Jane Adventures, and you don't know who Luke is and don't know what his deal is, because if all you've ever done is watch the main Doctor Who show, then he only ever showed up in The Stolen Earth and Journey's End as a side character. He was there, but he didn't do much. So Luke he's human-ish. He was created by a race called the Bane. In the pilot episode, he comes under the care of Sarah Jane. She basically raises him like he was her son. And he does refer to her as his mother. And he shares this little story about how she was the one who pointed out to him that somebody was looking at him in that special way. And now Luke is married to Samir, which is a male name and is confirmed masculine pronouns. So I should have checked this. I don't know if the actor is gay. If he is, that makes it like doubly sweet. But it's already something that I found very touching. This was after, I think, a slightly more debatable LGBTQ plus inclusion earlier, because Joe mentions, I think it's Joe. No, it's in the narration. It mentioned the lovely couple from Australia, Nissa and Tegan. And I kind of went, couple? So that's a classic. That's two classic companions who traveled with initially the fourth and then the fifth Doctor. And when I say that one's slightly more debatable, it could be argued that they came together and there was a presumption that it was a couple, but it's completely unambiguous with Luke. So that was really nice. That was really sweet. But what choked me up was not the fact that his partner, his spouse, his husband is a man. Like, that was nice, but let me be clear, that's not why I cried. I cried because he was so heartfelt talking about Sarah Jane. And he did a great job of capturing that I'm going to miss her because she was amazing feeling. I'm at that age where, I've started to lose people. I don't want to get too melancholy or dwell on it too much, but, it was a while ago. It was a few years ago when my grandparents died, and I was incredibly close to them. My father passed away earlier this year. I wasn't as close to him, but this kind of stuff in general, when it's done well, I don't think I'm a super sucker for it, because if it comes off as maudlin or insincere, it doesn't hit me. But if it's done well with sincerity, I'm a pretty easy target for this stuff, because I have enough life experiences that seeing something like this, it has direct experiences for me and emotions to draw from. And it does a really good job of capturing all of that. And it was cool to see the young actors again. I thought it was a little odd that they ended with Ronnie instead of with Luke. Although I guess with what she has to say, her sentiment makes more sense as an ending thing. So I guess that's why. And she made me cry too, just because it was such a beautiful image, and I could picture it perfectly. Because what she says is, I don't think she's actually gone. I think he finally came back for her. And he said, hey, you want to go? She said, oh, that'd be lovely. And I love the idea that Sarah Jane's loved ones would imagine that for her. This was good. This was good. This was sweet. I would encourage you to check it out if you haven't. Farewell, Sarah Jane. You've seen it? I hope so. What are your thoughts on it? Whatever they are, drop something on down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Usual stuff, like, subscribe, check out the Patreon, share the video if you are so inclined. But no pressure. We take it nice and easy, relaxed around here. Just swing on back next time you need a break.